All right, let's go.
Hey, Russ.
Before my daughter spazzes out in there with the dog. Call the meeting to order at 6:36. F&F Finance meeting. I'm going to call roll call. I'm Russ Chamberlain, F&F board member.
Hal Sloan, F&F board member.
Anybody else?
Kathleen Conlon-Wasik, board member.
Okay, and then we have the Pledge of Allegiance. We can just do it on our own, or if somebody wants to start it, go right ahead. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
Stand one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, public participation. Mikkel, do we have anybody, or Abe?
We do not.
Okay. Review of the minutes. I did go over them. Everything looked pretty good. Hal, did you see anything?
I did not see anything. It looked fine to me as well.
Okay. Continuing business, financial review. Abe?
Thank you, Russ. So the first item we have is the Aramark contract review. Just to get the conversation started, I thought it'd be good to just kind of review what we've done so far and kind of where we're at in the process, if that's okay. If we may begin with that. So in December, you recall we had an Aramark presentation. We received an overview of the food and service operations. A good conversation. We did have one follow-up, which was to look into a smart pre-ordering food technology system. Do you recall that, Russ?
Yep.
So that's something that we're in the process of assessing and getting the background on before we bring it back to the committee. Subsequently, we wanted to take a deeper dive into the contract and a more holistic review of the entire Aramark contract. And as you're aware, I did share the contract along with a summary and a clarification on how revenue and expenses are structured with Aramark. So in summary, we are billed for all food, labor, and direct expenses that are incurred to prepare and serve meals. And currently this year, Aramark's fee is a combined 0.0597 of total sales. Helen and I had a good conversation yesterday as it related to the contract, and we decided to review some invoices for alignment with the contract. And so we did that yesterday again. We reviewed two invoices, November of 2020 and then November of 2019, just to capture a normal school year as well as the November during COVID. And through that analysis, we decided to do some additional inquiry as it relates to Aramark's purchasing of the food that we are directly billed. And so the purchasing terms are in the contract. They're very clear. It requires Aramark to serve as an authorized agent for the district. And just referencing the contract, in the event Aramark directly or through its affiliates furnishes products or services necessary for the efficient operation of school food service program. The charges to the district for such products or services shall be competitive with the cost of obtaining such products or service from an independent source in the open market. Billings for such products or services shall be a direct cost to the district. So that's directly in line with the contract, as well as how the invoice is structured. There are more stipulations regarding the inventory of the food and supplies. There's a section on a guarantee that the district's food service costs shall not exceed the gross receipts for any given year. And if that were to occur, Aramark is to reimburse the district up to an amount equal to their management fee. And then also, I found interesting in the contract, the district has the right to audit any part of Aramark's operations in conjunction to any part of the agreement. So for next steps, we have requested Aramark to produce the backup documentation from their suppliers to kind of back into the invoice numbers that they provided related to direct costs of food. And then there, a second request was to basically that the invoices have separate operating statements during a normal year. We were getting 2 separate invoices. We initiated that due to ESSA and site-based reporting requirements. But we thought it'd be a good idea to also request separate operating statements for each of the schools. The contract doesn't require it, but we don't think they're going to mind in doing so, in providing separate operating statements. So that's just a summary of kind of where we've been and where we are in the process. Any questions or comments?
Okay, and then we got the COVID-19 update. Abe?
Very good. Mikko, would you like to add anything related to the COVID-19 update?
COVID, yeah, is still a thing. Still working on that. Actually, I mean, I was thinking today, we're finishing our 4th week of hybrid, which is pretty shocking and stunning. And the fact that we're this far in February, the year is flying by. As far as hybrid goes, I mean, I think, you know, knock on wood, I think it's going about as well as it can. You know, we haven't had any outbreaks. We had a few students who we have found out have tested positive. We don't believe that the infection occurred in school after our contact tracing. And, you know, we're just figuring out our processes for alerting families and the community, just making sure that people know they were being transparent. So we're sending out, you know, a general letter to the community if there is a positive case. And it goes on to say, you know, if your child's been affected, we'll let you know. But if you look at our case numbers and our quarantine numbers, those are coming down. Again, knock wood, which is good. The community numbers are, as far as we know, are coming down. The positivity rate in the county is kind of in the low, I want to say it's 5.3, something like that. So if you recall, after all the months we talked about the positivity rate and the bands of, you know, high infection, medium infection, low infection, we're almost in that green area for the positivity rate, which is great. As far as the incidence rate, which we were using pretty extensively for some, well, I was going to say for some reason the county has not updated those. I think there's, number one, the county is a little bit preoccupied with the vaccination piece, but I think there's also a problem with the data coming from IDPH. They're working on it, but again, what we're hearing from the health department is what they are seeing is exactly the same thing. The numbers are going in the right direction, so we're happy with that. Vaccinations we're almost done with our 2nd week of the Round Lake and Stevenson education pods, and those are going very well. Many of us around in the Zoom room have been there and seen the operation. It's incredibly smooth and just extraordinarily well done. You know, the big limiting factor is amount of vaccine. You know, every week it's kind of a new, how much are we going to get this week? So this week, my understanding, we got, or between the pods, got about, I want to say 3,800 doses. Last week was about 1,700. So, you know, it is ramping up. We'll see what happens next week. But it's been really nice to see and just hear from staff members who are just emailing me or talking to people, or, you know, some folks in this room have seen them in line as they have been in line. And it's just, it's a pretty emotional experience for many of our staff members. As part of that pod at Round Lake, at least, the admin staff is basically, they have spent a lot of time manning that site. So many of us are gonna, you know, take a day here or there. So their principal can actually get out of the field house and go do principal work. But what they have said, and, you know, I think Abe and I are gonna do some other people are gonna, you know, sign up for a time. But what they have said, just standing in that gym, watching people get vaccinated, it's a great experience. Just the relief that people feel, as you can probably imagine, is pretty palpable. So that's all going very well. Again, hybrid in terms of in school, I think is going very well. Our sports are ramping up again. So, you know, we're doing about what we can that we feel is safe. And then tomorrow the CDC is going to release their school recommendations. So we'll see what happens there. We have no idea what's going to be in there. So we'll play it by ear. But other than that, I think we're doing okay.
Mikkel, does the teacher have to get the vaccination, or
No.
were you equal?
No.
Okay.
What we are doing, we're not specifically asking, of course we were curious. We want to, you know, see, you know, how many of our staff are going to get the vaccine. But again, we have not asked for specific names. You know, are you, Jessica Ivanelli, going to get the vaccine? But what we did sent out a survey just to give us a sense of, how many people are getting the vaccine, because we're getting surveys from ISB that we need to report that kind of out of rough numbers. But we also want to see kind of when the next dose we think is going to come. I think so far, most people have felt generally okay with the first dose. Generally, my arm was just a little sore, but some other people have felt some symptoms that have lasted a day or two. But as you probably heard, the dose number 2 is worse. So we want to kind of see is there going to be a chunk of dose 2 coming that we kind of need to be ready for, either a lot of subs or, you know, potentially remote learning day or 2. We'll see.
Is it the Moderna or the Pfizer that you guys are getting?
Moderna.
Yeah, that one's, my daughter got that.
Oh yeah.
She had pains in her arms and a headache, and the second one she's getting tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know.
Just very roughly, and you know, I haven't had an update in a day or so. I would you say, Danielle, probably about a quarter of our staff so far ish
Yeah.
have gotten
Yep.
vaccinated, so that's great. That's great.
Yep.
And more to come. So
Okay. Thanks for the update.
all right.
All right. Then we're on to new business. A recommendation for the resolution.
Yeah, indeed. So this is related to the property tax relief grant. I think we all know how this goes. This is the third year, the second round. And so in 2020, the district again received a property tax relief grant in the amount of $1.252 million. In receiving the grant, we are required to abate taxes in the amount of $1.33 million. So this is from the resolution. The abatement of the debt levy must be by resolution of the Board of Education, which includes the transfer from the Ed Fund, so that the debt service fund will have adequate resources available to pay debt service in the 2020 levy year. And just as a reminder, the overall debt service fund, this last levy was the last year of the 2002 bonds to be levied, meaning taxpayers will still pay that in June and September of 2021. Next levy will not include that. And so the true savings folks will realize in 2022. And it'll be significant. So essentially it'll be a reduction of $7.6 million next year. This will correlate to an approximate savings of $583 per $250,000 home. Savings will be again noticed in 2022. And as it relates back to the abatement, to bridge these 3 years, we will have, after this, we'll have abated $5.573 million in total, saving approximately $428 per $250,000 home. And so, yeah, that's the backup. And we would like to bring this to the board for the resolution, recommending the resolution be approved. Any questions related to that?
Perfect. If we can try to make that known, because that's something that gets brought up all the time. If we can get that out, Mikkel and Abe, to the community. That's one of the questions I get hit on all the time. I think that'd be good to update them where we're at with that and explain to them where we're at with the taxes. And it'll be this June and September. So next, if we can put that somewhere on our site or somewhere, that would be great. No hurry. And then, do we have any recommendation to prepare the 21-22 budget? Almost forgot that one.
I usually have this motion at the end of the approval of the budget. But in this district, we do go through the formal process of just bringing a motion forward again to the board to allow Mikkel's designee, which I think is me, to prepare the budget as required by school code.
Mhm.
And that's basically all this is.
Okay. Is there any need for a closed session? Abe, I don't recall that anything brought
This
up.
month, but next month.
Okay. Topics for future committee board meetings and next meeting reminder. God, I forgot when that was. I did look at it.
It's March 4th.
There you go.
And just to remind you guys, the committees are March 4th, and then we don't have a week in between because of spring break. So committees are March 4th and board is March 11th.
Okay.
Thanks for the reminder.
I think I brought a couple things up to Kathleen, Mikkel, and Abe. I did send for the next committee meeting if you want to bring that up. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at it. I know you're busy. Just something I saw in the newspaper about Naperville, giving some tax rebates back to the community. I don't know how that worked out or fit in. I didn't dig into it enough, but that was interesting. Abe, I don't know if you got a chance to look at that at all. I didn't get to really look at the details. I did show Kathleen, and I think I sent it to you, Mikkel. But that was interesting. I don't know the details on that, but there was a small refund due to not being open in the COVID-19. I don't know how that works out when you got to pay for all this PPE and get funds and stuff, but it was interesting. I know once somebody hears from another community getting that, usually we get hit up about that. So I did bring that forward to you. And Mikkel, Kathleen, I sent you something else. I don't remember now what that was. I don't have it written down. Do you remember? What was it?
I have it in my notes, but I don't have it in front of me. You know,
What
what we can do is we can
Is Naperville?
the Naperville thing, we can bring that to the board for a board level discussion because we don't want the administration doing anything until we have a discussion about it as a board. Does that sound okay to everybody?
That's fine.
That's fine.
I think that's good because Naperville, I mean, people might be talking about that in the news, but that's also a tier 1 funded school. They have over 100% adequacy, and that's different than the makeup in our school environment.
Thank you, Amy. It's 117%.
Thank you. Yep.
We just gotta be ready for that because usually when they hear that, it comes around. I can't remember what the other thing was. I think I sent it to Abe too. I don't remember. Well,
Was it about the school safety app?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
School safety app.
Yeah.
that was interesting. But maybe we can talk about that in the next F&F or whatever. But
Yeah, I got to dig into that a little bit because I think that same individual is emailing me as well. So
And me. So
Oh.
we get a lot of emails on this one. But let me speak to, if it's okay, Russell, let me speak to Mikkel about this to see where the best place would be to put this, maybe how we can contextualize a little bit. Again, we don't want the administration running around. Not that we don't want them running around, but running around purposefully. They're already been. So if that's okay, we'll figure out when to have the school safety app discussion and the Naperville discussion. I think that definitely the Naperville discussion is a board level conversation, and the school safety app, I'll touch base with Mikkel on that and see where's the best place to tee that up. But absolutely. And
You guys
thank you very much for being on that.
yeah, you guys only got me for a couple more meetings, so I got a blubber. I got my last words out, and then just whatever. I just wanted to get that into there, so I appreciate it. Hopefully Douglas is doing okay, but I appreciate you guys. Sorry about this. We were supposed to have this last week, and they postponed it to today. So hopefully everything's okay and everybody's doing well and healthy. But if there's no other things for next meeting, I guess we can adjourn.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, I was just speaking with Douglas and he's doing fine. And
Oh,
he
good.
would have jumped in, but you showed up and saved the day. So thank you. So we're all good.
Well, it's been rough. Yeah, I gotta go into training. Sorry, that was a bad joke.
All right.
All right, see you later. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Russell.
everybody.
Aye.
Yeah.
I think, are we all back? Everyone's here? I see. I see Jay. I don't know if Erin's in, but
She's on her way in.
she is?
Or
Okay, good.
like entering the waiting or entering the
Okay.
room right now.
Oh, wait a second. It's still just 7. Good. Excellent. All right. It is 7 o'clock. I can call the meeting to order. We have Amy Knudsen-Strack, chair, and let's see. We have Jay
Yep. Jay Reynoso, board member.
and Erin. I see Erin, board member. Okay, our committee is here. We've got the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have anyone for public participation? Opening it up at 7:01.
Nope, nobody for from the community.
Okay, all right, so 7:01 and 30 seconds, we'll close public participation. Okay, moving along to meeting minutes from January 14th. I had reviewed them. I didn't see anything unusual. Jay?
They look good to me.
Okay, Erin?
Looked fine.
Okay, we'll move those forward. Continuing business, COVID-19 update. Let's see, Erin wasn't here just now, so do you want to review that quickly, Dr. Storsley?
Sure. Yeah, so we're finishing our 4th week of hybrid, and in general going very well. And we're just taking care of issues as they come, but no deal breakers for sure. The vaccine pod is finishing its 2nd week, and again, we're estimating about a quarter of our staff so far have been vaccinated. But the operation is going really smoothly at Round Lake, and I assume at Stevenson as well, I'm sure. Our numbers, as far as the community health numbers, to the best of our knowledge, are continuing to decrease. Whether that's the positivity rate, the incidence rate, we're not sure because they're not updating those numbers. They haven't for a couple of weeks, but I actually do know they're working on it. Whether it's a Lake County issue or an IDPH issue, I tend to think that's what it is, just them getting the data to us. But regardless, what we're hearing from the health department is the numbers are going in the correct direction down. So other than that, I mean, we're plowing through and figuring out this new instructional model, I guess.
I'm really impressed by there's been press obviously, but just the feedback of the 2 sites in Lincolnshire and Round Lake, and just the overall coordination that between the leadership of schools and the health department, and having that done for all of the schools in Lake County. It wasn't Hunger Games, it was coordinating it for all the schools in the county. I just am really impressed by that, and I think I'm just going to be saying that over and over again.
That was the worry, that it was going to be the Hunger Games, right?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
yeah.
And that one school would be outbidding another or outfitting another, and just making, I mean, just, I just am so impressed by all of the schools working together to do the best thing for everyone.
And there have been, you've probably heard about the Walgreens deal with Deerfield and some other districts, and
Sure.
all's well that ends well there. But the big thing with that is it actually takes that staff out of our pod volume,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, if they're getting taken care of elsewhere, fantastic, more power to them. That leaves more vaccines for us coming out around Lake and Stevenson. So it's working out. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, people can't get ruffled over those kind of things. I mean, that's if an organization steps forward and picks a group, okay, off they go. And you're right, it peels off some, and then something happens in a more expedited way for others. So it's for the rest of the group. So I don't look at that any differently than if everyone's in line for all vax in the county, and then your doctor, if you're with Northwestern or whatever, and your doctor's like, we've got a batch, you can come in because of your medical conditions or whatever, and we've got you in line here. I mean, even the health department has said, if you're able and you get a call from your doctor, by all means, go that route. So it's a little, the way all this has been rolled out anyway is not streamlined. So I'm just happy that this has been streamlined for the schools. You guys have done the best you can, so that's good. So thank you. Anyone else have any additional comments? Jay?
No, I'm all right.
Okay, Aaron?
I'm good.
Okay, Kathleen or anyone else in the group? Nope, I'm seeing none. Okay. All right, so moving along, we've got new business. Field trips. Tracy?
Yeah. So in your packet, you'll find a memo recommending that we do for the last outstanding international trip what we did for the Europe trip last month. The last outstanding international trip was the Exploring World Cultures trip that was supposed to go to Australia this summer. And we are recommending that we bump that trip to next summer. There's only 6 families that were registered for this trip, so it couldn't even go if we wanted it to. And those are 6 families that rolled over from last year's trip, which was canceled. And so the current sophomores and juniors, the 6 sophomores and juniors that are these families will, if we don't roll it over to next summer, be forced into taking either a voucher to travel some other time with this company or losing several $100s, depending upon it was $350, I think, for these families. So we would just like to offer them another opportunity next summer. It would be the same refund policy next summer or this summer, so it doesn't cost them anything. They can choose not to travel next summer, but they now have the option then to travel next summer instead if they would like. The one caveat with this trip, different than the one we did last break, is because there's only 6 families, we would need to enroll additional families. We need to get to 18 families to run the trip. What we were waiting for with EF and why we didn't bring Australia last month was because we were finalizing some contractual details. We wanted some things in writing from them, guaranteeing that any new enrollees would get 100% of their money back if we can't get to 18 by October of next year. We got that in writing. So we're now where we need to be and are ready to recommend that we roll this trip over to next summer.
And when we say next summer, we're talking summer 22, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, summer of 22. Any questions I can answer?
Seems very straightforward to me, especially if you only have 6 families.
Right.
Yeah, I would
And-
agree.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I would agree, and thank goodness this isn't the Italy trip from last year.
Right. Yeah,
I almost shudder at the phrase field trips now.
yeah, you're telling me.
I know. I'm pretty. Yeah.
It's going on a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we still haven't had a discussion overall about what we want to do with about these trips. I mean, that's still kind of something I think we wanted to do, but that this still seems to be something that needs to be taken care of. If that's, yeah. I do have some concerns about adding families to a trip, and then that's it becomes a promotion. It's there's going to be a promotion to sign up families.
Mhm.
So just being ready for that's going to start some momentum about field trips.
Mhm.
So when that starts, being ready for other field trips coming, and when, although I'm expecting that soon some groups are going to be able to do that. So,
Right.
It's
Fingers crossed.
it's yeah. So once, yeah, if they're able to do that, then others should be able to handle what they need to do. So anyway, okay. Anybody have any other comments?
I will just say thank you, Tracy, and to your staff for getting this in writing. This is
Oh yeah.
for this and just precedent setting, definitely in comparison to what happened last spring break. But so thank you for your work.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Agree 100%. I mean, lessons learned, continual improvement.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep, it's much better. Hal or Kathleen?
I just think that the whole trip thing has been a monumental task, and God bless you for taking that on, because my God, it would keep me up every night for the last year, and that's how long you've been dealing with it, Tracy. So you and your group. So God bless you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, we will move this forward. Are we in agreement, Jay and Aaron? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Next, we got 6B staffing plan update.
Thank you, Amy. So Tracy, please chime in if I've missed anything, but nothing in your packet this evening. Just wanted to provide a verbal update as it relates to staffing. We have hit the ground running with our first of many staffing meetings this month. As you recall, we with intention pushed these meetings to begin in February so we can base our sectioning off of classes for which children have registered to take. So we have accurate data. Dr. Barb Georges has once again wowed us with her spreadsheet magic and created another wonderful spreadsheet for North and Central. So it's an an up-to-date Google Doc where we can all have access. Mikkel and Abe are also short on that document, so you can kind of see our work in real time. So just hats off to that staffing team. If you recall, that team is made up of myself, Dr. Tracy Landry, Mark Kettering, Jim and Dan, the building principals, as well as Barb and Jeff. So it's a powerhouse team, if you will. And our first meeting, as I said, was this past Monday. We meet for about 3-hour blocks of time. We really get some nice momentum and we're able to cover some really nice ground. This past week, we really refamiliarized ourselves with the spreadsheet based on what classes students are signing up to take, and just kind of started to wrap our brain around that. And then, as you know, January is a busy month in HR with all of the deadlines around February 1st, right? That is our date to request retirement. That is our date to request leave of absence, commit to return if you are currently on leave of absence, move from part-time to full-time to part-time status, excuse me, request transfers. So it's quite a busy place. So we kind of wrapped our brain around what things do we know in terms of staffing, so we can do our best moving forward. So our next meeting is Tuesday, the 16th, another, I think 3.5 hours of great staffing conversation. So that's just a little bit of the cliff notes for you. Tracy, please chime in if I've missed anything.
Yeah, only that some of the data was still a bit incomplete in this last meeting because all meetings with incoming freshmen needed to be virtual. Normally in past years, the counselors go visit every single student at their middle school. And they meet with the student and the parents if the parents choose to be there. That of course couldn't happen in COVID. So all meetings have been virtual. And so there's been a number of families that have been harder to meet with virtually. So that's delayed some of the incoming freshman data. So that was going to be completed by the end of this week. And so we'll have all of our freshman data finally in for our Tuesday meeting, so we can really walk out with some more final data and information. But hats off to our counseling team who worked tirelessly all day and all evening to meet with all of our families virtually and our students virtually. They met, of course, with some students in person, but most meetings were happening virtually in the afternoons and in evenings. So they've really been working tirelessly for the last several weeks, actually more than a month, to meet with all grade levels of students in a new way. So kudos to them.
So typically the counselors go to the 8th grade schools.
Correct.
Right? So they're trying to tag team with all these students and parents.
From 7 different sender schools. Yeah, virtually.
All the sender schools.
Yeah.
And so they're running into obstacles that way.
Yeah, it's just harder to get people to find times that they can meet, or people forget to come, or, you know,
yeah,
the natural obstacles that happen. So it was just a bit harder because we didn't go to them, right, and go during their day and their time to meet with them. So
right, okay. All right. What have you found with the block scheduling? Has anything changed with that? Yeah, do you know? Or
yeah,
just
I mean,
too soon to
we'll
say?
know better, right, once all the freshmen have chosen their classes. But we are seeing some of the elective areas, as we thought might happen, right? Students now maybe had an opportunity to take an additional class. So we are seeing some Healthy Woods 1, Healthy Woods 2. Some of our culinary programs are pretty healthy. So we are seeing some of those kind of CTE in particular, elective areas. We got a healthy mobile makers number this year. So we are seeing, especially in CTE, some of those numbers doing what we thought they might when kids had room in their schedule to spread their wings a little, if you will.
I love it. Okay, good. That's great. Okay. Any initial questions or for this group? Erin?
No, just glad to hear about the CTE. In hindsight, I probably should have taken Auto 1, right? We all should have.
Yeah, it was really nice to see those numbers. We were a little nervous, right? Given COVID, would kids even sign up to take these classes? Right? So it was nice to see those numbers come in. So yeah, we have celebration all around.
We are waiting to see if more freshmen sign up for choir.
Yes, choir's
Tech
low.
programs have taken a hit.
Yeah.
Those numbers did not increase. They went the other way.
Yeah.
Um,
And guitar, right, Tracy? Some of those
No,
one-offs.
guitar was
were-
okay. Guitar was
was.
okay. Choir is our biggest concern.
Yeah.
We have multiple choirs, right? And we're a little concerned. Now freshmen, right, still hadn't selected. Well, about 120 freshmen still hadn't selected. So we couldn't say for sure, but we're hoping
They
they
all
were a really
select choir.
musically inclined group. Because otherwise choir and right, maybe that's a COVID thing. Maybe it's
I would outright say that's a COVID. I would say that
absolutely.
would be I would say that's a temporary pause. That if someone has to make a choice, they're going to make a choice of something else until they can be back in a room and sing.
Singing.
Singing is such a hard thing to do in a COVID time. It was one of the very first, international investigative things about droplets was singing and band,
Yep.
right? All those things coming out. So, all those kids not being able to, that's one of the extracurriculars that's really taken a hit, are all the, marching band and theater, doing musicals and all of it, in addition to the academic classes of choir and band.
Yeah. And enrollment is, at North, it's down a little bit. They'll be under 1,300 for the first time in a long time. So they dropped a little bit. Central will remain fairly steady, up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can see how, if given a menu of opportunity and someone's like, well, maybe I'll try this and then I'll swing back into it, or who knows. But I would hate to see, I would say as a temporary thing, and I would see it coming back. That whole program has been really, I was just watching what was happening just very recently with the choir programs at both, the choir program at North has been great. Choir program at Central has been great, but now we've had a new choir director too, and that infuses a whole different perspective. You just never know, but it's just been really good to see. So anyway.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think that choir will bounce back. So sorry,
yeah,
Tracy.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, it is temporary. I get to up close and personal about what professional music schools are doing because I went to one, and yeah, it's hard across the boards. So I think we'll back. And kids love, there's these kids who just love being in the musical and love being on stage and love performing. So there'll be recruitment once we kind of get over this, and it'll fall right back into place.
yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Tracy, did you say our overall numbers were down a little bit at North, and you were, is that what you said?
yeah. They're, I don't know the exact number. It's under 30 maybe, but they're down now. They'll be under 1,300 as overall as a school.
Overall in the school. But this is tracking the trend that we thought, right? The lower numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to keep an eye on that, just to.
For sure.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
That's throughout the county too, by the way. That same trend throughout the county, but we're concerned about our numbers, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's, I think a lot of this, well, I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, I'd like to keep an eye on it though, but yes.
Yep. So in March, right, Danielle, we'll have the details of where we land.
Yes. Yep. The recommendations. Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a busy February.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. 6C staffing calendar update.
Yes. So I bring forth this evening an apology as there was a faux pas on the calendar that I brought forth last month. There was a miscalculation of staff work days. We had on there 181 days and our GEA staff work 180. So we had to make an adjustment again. My apologies. We reconvened the calendar committee on February 4th to review the miscalculation and decided that the easiest would be to simply take a day off at the end of the school year, like minus a day, moving the last day of school from May 25th to Tuesday, May 24th. That would align us to 180 staff days and keep us in line with board policy for 175 student attendance days. So again, apologies, but think it's an easy enough fix. So with your approval, we will get that reposted to ISB. We will get that up on our website. And Dr. George has had a nice idea of also blasting that out to families on School Messenger, so they have the most up-to-date and approved calendar. So thank you so much for your grace on that. And any questions? I'm happy to take those.
With everything, I think this is an easy fix, and having a day lopped off at the end is an easy way to do it. And I think we can all be given a little bit of grace and understanding.
Thank you.
How things like this can happen, and thank you for alerting us.
Oh, of course.
And it's not like there were 18 sets of eyes on it.
I saw, I even
We
said,
all
oh,
look right at it.
181, great, we've met the minimum. Like, I didn't even cross my mind it would be an issue. So,
You know,
I think people are just going to see this as a good thing, as
Yeah.
taking
Right?
way off the end of the school year. So, I mean, kudos to all of you.
this is
Thanks, Jay.
this is the mistake we have.
There you go. Right?
Take it.
We
Okay,
under-promise
you
and
all.
over-deliver. So
That's right.
it.
Thank
That's
you
it.
all for your understanding. It means a great deal. Thank you.
All right, I see Jay with a thumbs up. Aaron,
Yep. All
Okay.
good. Yeah. It's not a week. It's not a month.
No, thank goodness.
yeah.
we've done that too, by the way, but never mind.
Okay. All right, we'll move this forward. And I do like the idea of making sure the families know, they look at their calendars. So yeah, definitely get it out.
Yep, will do.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So now we're on to board policy review. My computer is actually acting up and it's been freezing a little bit. So if somebody, I don't know if,
actually, I
Would
don't
you
have
mind?
it. I don't have
oh, you
my-
don't have it open? Maybe
I can,
well, I'll go
I've
ahead
got
and
it
do
here. I
it.
can do it if you want.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind, because
me
I've got a
one
bad
moment.
feeling. Sometimes when I share documents, that's when it, and I know I have frozen twice already. So I don't know what's up, but
And while he pulls that up, I will just kind of preview. There are 7 total policies tonight. Only 3 of them require board approval. The other 4 are just footnote updates. Of the 3 that are for board approval, 2 of them are just 5-year reviews. The press every 5 years, things that haven't been updated, they'll bring it forth. And then 1 is a
There we go.
legal reference update.
Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, so we're on to the first one, which is, I can read it, 527, yeah.
This is just educational support personnel. Again, just a 5-year review. No changes in the text of the policy, no changes in practice. They do have coincidentally a few updates, additions in the footnotes as well, though this was just listed as a 5-year review, but there's no change for us.
Yep, this one was really simple. So all good, Jay?
Yep.
Aaron? I can't see you, so you'll have to either you have to
Yes.
say yes. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move that one forward. Next one, instruction high school credit for students in grades 7 or 8.
Yeah, again, just a 5-year review. There was a little change in the footnotes as well, but no change in the language or in practice.
Right. That one was pretty simple too. We've got any questions about this one, folks? No.
Nope. Look
All
good to me.
good, Jay?
Yep.
How about you, Aaron?
I'm good.
Okay, we'll move that one forward. Next one is credit for proficiency.
This is just a legal reference update. So you see the little part in green at the bottom. They just update the part of the school code that references this, but there's no change in the policy.
Yeah. Jay's all good. I'm glad we have this. I remember seeing it before, but it's good to see it again.
Yep.
Erin, any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right, we'll move that forward again. General personnel, hiring process and criteria.
Yeah, just a footnote update. You can see it down in blue.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, no approval required, just making you aware of the update.
Mm-hmm.
And it is 7 pages long, Nicole, so.
Yeah, this one was really long. Right, so this doesn't require us to move it forward. It's just letting us, it's just being aware that this has been done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So this is all good. Jay, Erin? Professional personnel, teacher qualifications.
Yeah. Again, just footnote updates. You can see they struck some things out in red. Of course, footnotes are not there when we publish the policy publicly.
Right. And that's all basic too. Okay, Jay, okay. Erin?
I'm okay.
Okay. And that's it, right? Was there one
No,
more?
there's
one more.
two
Okay.
more.
Oh, two more, sorry.
Okay.
All right, instruction, curriculum development. All right.
Yeah. So they updated the footnotes from a policy that was updated not too long ago regarding experimental education programs and pilots. So they updated the footnotes, but no changes to the policy at this time.
Yep. Yep. That one's fine. Jay gave a thumbs up. Erin?
I'm good.
Okay, and then grading and promotion.
Yeah, so again, just footnote update. I'm hoping that this particular footnote update is a sign of things to come, that assessments are not required if ISB receives a waiver from the administration of assessments.
Yeah, no kidding.
I promise I don't know anything. Oh.
I'm looking to you, Jay.
We got the same email y'all got.
Yeah. Break the contract with, I want the waiver and then I want the contracts to go away. I don't want just the waiver, I want the contracts. Go away.
And that was it for policy.
All right. All right, that's it. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, do we have a need to go into closed session?
Nope.
I do not believe so.
You know what, Amy? I'm sorry, before we move on from policy.
Oh, yes.
So since 2019, we have been doing press updates, all the policies we've brought forth.
Right.
Because there's been new issues dropped by press.
Yes.
Or 5-year review type things that came through from press. So we are now done. We don't have any new, at least at the moment, now that I've said it, I've jinxed myself, but we don't currently have any new press policies to bring forward until the next issue drops. I don't know when that will be, but for now, we don't have one. So what, I don't know if you guys next month or in the coming months until a new issue drops. Previous to that, we had been going through our own internal policies, and I asked Jenny Utenans to pull up where did we leave off in that process. It looks like you had just finished. You had gone through all 8 sections, and then all these press changes came since 2019. So do you want to take a break until the next issue drops? Do you want to start over with section 1, or what's your preference?
Just to throw it out there, I did hear that a new one is supposed to be coming out April sometime. So I just to throw it out there, my contact at press said they're working on it. It's not quite ready to go out. It would probably be after spring break, just to let you guys know.
Okay, so for the month of March,
Yes.
would you like to start reviewing and then stop reviewing?
I think, well, I have found that going through board policy has been a really good thing for good governance, and that having the rotation has been a good thing. In this environment that we're in, it's a little bit different, but that's my overall thought. However, I do know that we've got a big staffing plan coming up.
Yeah, we do.
The next round, and that does take time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in my mind. So I'm open to not doing it right this next meeting, but maybe looking at pretty soon starting the next rounds again. But that's just my first thought. I'm open to what the committee would like to do.
So I would suggest.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jay. Just again, as a reminder, we'll have at least one new board member coming on.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe
That's-
that might be a good time to stop and break.
Start
But
over. Yeah.
whichever, yeah.
And that's what I was going to suggest, is that we take a break for March and April to give the new board members some time to get acclimated after April, and then we pick things up slowly in May, or if it's more convenient in June. I think that's kind of a good time.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is if there's anything that you guys feel maybe isn't working, especially over the past year, something that challenged you or something you think maybe we do need to take a new pair of eyes at, I definitely think that we should be doing that. This is a great opportunity, to do that right now. I know with a new board member, but instead of starting with chapter 1 again, maybe there are some pieces that you went, oh, this is just not working for us in this new environment.
Yeah.
Let's,
I like that idea, that if there's something we need to chew on or look at, doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. At least
and
until
the
April.
answer
when
is
we
0. I'm
review.
good with that too. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say until April when we have 25 new policies that they drop for us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, policy work is just always happening and always going. So it's just never, it's always good. I was shocked. We've gone to meetings, and we've met boards across the state where they haven't cracked open their policy book for years. It's shocking. So I'm glad that we have this rhythm, and continually just, it's good to have this rhythm, because then when we do need to look at something, we're accustomed to it too. So it's not for naught.
Yep.
It gets us thinking of different topics that we may not have thought of if we didn't go through policy.
Right. So.
Yeah, and remember hindsight, we looked at the pandemic policy right before all of this hit.
And we sure did.
Those will be the new 25 policies we get.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a really good point. Okay. All right. So next month we'll focus on
The other issues. Yep.
on what?
On the other issues. Sorry.
Yeah, I think next month, I think it's okay to work on, we've got personnel, that will be okay unless something comes up. And then we'll take the next month, we'll have something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be all right.
Okay.
Personnel recommendations.
Yeah,
Danielle.
Maybe. So as I alluded to in the brief staffing plan update, it's been a busy month and you'll see that reflected here. We have some recs to hire as it relates to our athletics, and then we have some resignations as well. We also have a long list of retirements, right? So we knew these are upon us. 'Tis the month that we see a lot of these come forth, right? As the deadline is Feb 1 for staff to submit their retirements. So Abe and I have been busy meeting with staff. Hats off to the business office for, I think we're a nice partner in this work, right? We meet with the employee to review their finances, and then we talk about kind of their exit from the district in such a special way. So that's what I have to bring forth this evening. Any questions?
So if I read it right, some of the resignations are not just resignations completely from the school, but some are stepping down from their chair positions. Is that correct? Or no? Did I read
No.
that?
No, I think what
incorrectly?
I have a resignation. We have a paraprofessional from Central stepping down from her position as a para, and then we have a list of department chairs retiring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But
They're retiring completely, not just from chair work.
Right.
Oh, okay. Got it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Steve Eichen alluded to something about he's not ready to officially say I'm retiring from basketball yet, right? It's
That's
just
what I read.
what it was,
Okay.
right?
That's what I read. That's
It's
what I
just
read.
his love for coaching. He's like, I'm putting that in my letter. I said, you put whatever you
Okay.
want in your letter.
Okay. Well, the
That's what it was,
letters,
Amy. Yeah.
the letters are really, some of the letters are really heartfelt.
I know it. I know it. I know it.
They really were.
It's nice
Really
when the employees take the opportunity to thank the board. It's really important, and I think it's nice for you as a board. I'm sure to read those words. So yeah, sorry, Amy, I didn't recall that quick enough for you, but yes, Steve Eichen wants to remain a basketball coach forever.
I can understand. I mean, I can understand. I love, I mean, he doesn't, I don't think he knows how much I grew up loving women's basketball.
Oh.
I mean, I was a big men's basketball fan, but I was also a huge women's basketball fan. So
you'll love to hear that. I will share that with him. He will be.
I grew up watching Vivian Stringer.
I don't know who that is. I will Google that later. Okay.
I met her.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah. So anyway, long story, but yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you. That concludes this section.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, so topics for future committee or board meetings. Have any? I know next meeting we're going to have a lot with staffing. So, okay. I had something and I failed to write it down. I will have to just remind myself. Sorry. I did have something. Shoot. Oh, I forgot. Jay or Aaron? You're all good? Okay. Kathleen? She's good. Hal? Everyone's good? Okay. All right. All right. Well, it is 7:44 and we are ready to adjourn. Good night, everyone. Thanks for all your attention.
Good
Thanks
night,
for all